Hi Vicki and Randy, this is Jim, and I'm just going to give you a little tour of the garden here, tell you a little bit about some of the plants, what they are, why I planted them where I did, and things like that. I think you'll find that you will probably change some plants around. What I always tried to do was to see if a plant grew well in a place, and if it did well with the plants around it, that was a good thing. If it didn't, or if it needed more sun or rain or whatever, then I moved it. And then to try to balance that with the aesthetics, like for example in the gateway here, you've got a bottle brush on the right and a bougainvillea on the left. My hope was to grow them up and let them intertwine, grow together. I thought it would be interesting. However, I think it might also be interesting to just let them both continue to grow both sides and cover each other, and I think you'd have color and balance year-round that way. The red, these are called lecheros. They look kind of like a plum tree or something like that, but leche is Spanish for milk, and if you you'll either want to have pato, or you can do it yourself to trim these away from the sidewalk, otherwise they start to hang low, and it would make it difficult for passers-by. They'd have to walk around them on the other side. But as they are, it makes a beautiful canopy on the sidewalk, and is really very enjoyable to walk through. This tree up on top here, Rachel, I don't know what the name of it is. Rachel calls it a fireworks tree, and I think it's a good name because it looks like all the branches go out as if it's fireworks. Don't worry about it being scraggly at this point. I think a lot of them do. Some of them come into their own. As I move around, you're going to see that the other one is starting to come into its own a little bit more. You can see the cannas are of different varieties, and they tend to bloom more this time of year up until, I'm going to say, July or August. The leaves on them need to be periodically trimmed off to keep them looking nice. You can leave them alone, do nothing with them, and they'll be fine. But if you want them to be something you want to look at, you need to do that a little bit. This tree out in front of me here, I don't know the name of it, but I love them. I guess the only thing to consider on this one is that as it gets taller, I have trimmed it back twice now, and it's really ready for it now too. But you can, here again, it's your choice. It would be nice to have a little more shade in here, but you will, at the expense of that, lose part of your sight of Cotacachi from the kitchen sink and from the living room. Just to note, you got the agapanthus and the geranium. Just know that anything in a clay pot, if it's a dry, windy, sunny day, they do dry out, and that's the plus minus of those. Plants here tend to do a whole lot better in them, but you got to stay on top of it to make sure that they get enough moisture. Likewise, the plastic ones, like this one in front of me, is, you can see I have holes drilled in it. If that one happens to be an old, and you can see that the metal mast is still there from an umbrella. It had, where I had it, long story, but the bottom line is that one has concrete in the bottom. That's how I do those umbrellas, and so there isn't that much soil in that one. These, I don't know what you call this tree either, the one with the orange flowers, but it's a butterfly magnet. It started out to be a very weak tree. It seems like it's getting stronger, but one thing you do need to do from time to time is trim back its branches because they kind of grow forever and then they droop down, and it can cause the branches to tear off of the main branch. Those yellow bushes over there, as you note, are right along the rock pathway. I keep those trimmed back also, just, you know, so that you can continue to walk through. Any of these things, you know, you can change for your own liking. You can let things completely overgrow. In fact, you know, there would be a certain charm to that too, as you know. So, I mean, it's all up to you. I'm just telling you why I did it the way I did it. I'm going to do a video on hammocks, not just for you, but for people in general. I might even someday sell some hammocks, bring them up from down here and sell them, because I think that much of hammocks and being able to use them here. You can see the hibiscus is really starting to get tall there. I was looking for it to reach about that height. It'll go another 6-8 feet if you let it. That's up to you, you know, whether you want to keep doing that or not. You notice that there's, next to the orange one, there's a red one. The red one was much slower in coming, but they have some really gorgeous flowers. Again, the succulent in the middle of the garden there is, it has the most interesting and beautiful yellow flowers. And here is another one that's starting to put it out. They're shaped like Christmas trees when they're fully developed, and they last quite a while. They're beautiful. That red flower down low behind that rose is a carnation, and right now it doesn't have very many blooms, but sometimes it'll have even 6 or 8 stalks at the same time, each with about 3 or 4 carnations. So you can see there's a ton of variety here that comes and goes. Over next to the house here is a lantana hybrid derivative or whatever, the purple flowered one. It's subject to the same ailment that the yellow lantana, or as they call it, tuberosa here. They're both subject to the same bug that comes around about in June, and I think I shared with you a little bit about that, and I've showed Pato where that is, where the medicine is for that. There again, the insects probably wouldn't kill the plant. They just completely defoliate it, and it would run its cycle, but I just don't do that. So anyway, between the two benches, you know that I guess, Vicki, you did some watering from there, so you know where that is. If you ever have a water issue ever anywhere in the house or yard or whatever, and you need to turn the water off, that's just turn that lever, and that'll take care of it. One thing you need to know too is nearly everything in the yard is, you know, the things that I put in wood. I try to set them on rock to keep them from rotting, but bottom line is all of these are natural products, and they will go south at some point. Even the hammock posts over there, I did set them in concrete, but as you know, even posts here are not treated, so you have to be monitoring the posts and make sure that they are rock solid. If they're not rock solid, they're ready to go. So make sure they're rock solid, or you need to replace them or something this way. Don't get yourself hurt because of a post. And that's the backyard.